Hey everybody, this is Grace. Pardon the view, but I'm under a tree here for shade so my camera doesn't get hot. Anyway, this is a kind of like a rough draft recording, like the old-fashioned way, for a series I'm writing. I've been writing for years, and it's just ongoing. And this is, so it's going to be, it's a rough draft. And highlights and some of it, parts of the story, and this part I needed to add. Some of what I'm doing right now, most of it for this part of the series, I'm writing like a little bit of background information, in a cast of characters along this line, and why they are where they are. Okay, most of it goes back to 2020, early 2020, when things went odd for many of us, all of us. And this one, now in this county, it's a fictional, hypothetical-fictional story, and it's located in Texas, which of course is real. But the county, Victorson County, is not. But it's okay. So I'll get to this. Victorson County is isolated from most of the rest, of where it's located, from the rest of the towns. And the closest one is they call it the big city, and it is about 2 miles north of the closest part, the northern most, and it's 2 hours drive from there. So if they're in the south part, it's a lot longer, of course. Anyway, and the county itself, most of the residents are very wealthy. The elders in the county, they generally run the county, and they're very good at investments, and so are this one group of computer geeks. They've been doing it for years, and they're really good at helping one another open businesses and on and on. And so the county is wealthy. Well, there comes up a problem, in early 2020 and a little bit before then, whereas there were different kinds of threats going on besides what was going on in 2020, or what's been started in early 2020 here in Texas, in the United States, whatever. Anyway, that's what I'm saying. I tell you it's rough, but so the different types of enforcement, they have a group they call the enforcement. It's Jim's. He basically trains people for enforcement, like the police officers, the deputies, and they train people for bodyguards, security, even send people to university to become lawyers. And not just there, they've invested in other parts of the world. And all of these became worried about because of a lot of different reasons, things that are going on. And so they kind of, decided, it all started happening around the same time that they started really noticing it. And because of what happened in 2020, I'm avoiding using the terms. They got together. They decided, along with the elders, that they need to get as many people as possible, people who choose to do so, to move back to the county, and they have moved outside of the county. And also they realized they need to separate the elders. And when those come back, some of them will be elders, and there are also elders, of course, living in their own homes in the county. They have some that are living on a ranch called XYZ Ranch, and that's where they do, they come to make decisions and stuff like that, and have conferences and all those things, meetings and all. But they decided that they want to move them to various ranches. The ranches surround the county, right on the inside, and that's they have a little more. They have, around the towns and everything. On the outside, they have more land, of course. But anyway, they decided they want to move them on to all those ranches, because the ranches are dude ranches. They're dude ranches and such, like one's amusement parks and all, and different things. So they want to move them to those. And when they do that, they have their own medical facilities on, on the sites, because they're dude ranches and such, and the county hospital is not all that close, so they, for minor things, but they want to expand those, and they do, and move them, separate them out, and then they decide where they want to go. If they want to go live on these mansions, these dude ranch mansions and cabins and such, and they would have security and all that, wherever they go. That way, they don't have to have so much security on each home. You see, each elder's home, they can have all their security and their, all their, deputies that need to be there and all this. More centrally located, watching over more than one, okay, one family. And so they do that. They move them, get them all moved, and they go by. The elders, decided to do stuff like by age and interest, or friends, or whatever it is. They just, decide, and they get their choice of which ranch they want to go to. Of course, they have limited space, and they know that. And most of them, they pay their own way. They're really wealthy, the elders. So to them, it's nothing. And some of them, give them to keep them going, floating, because the dude ranches are not going to have anybody coming in to, stay on these ranches and these mansions and cabins and all. They decided, they're trying to close down the county, all of it legal, in a legal fashion, without having any, people coming for vacations and such. They want it just to be the people in the county, and they have rolling lockdowns, and, as long as they need to. Okay. Now, I said they had other troubles going on, and they're still not totally sure. They're just starting to learn more and more. But there were threats made and such, that gave them the feeling that the wealthiest people in the county, the certain people, like certain groups of the computer people, and they're in danger. Their lives are in danger. And so, there's more than one reason, more than one situation going on. So they, they had that to concern themselves with too. Now, the wealthiest ones is what's going to be, I'm going to talk about in this video. The wealthiest ones, the Sheriff Mitch, and his captain, Captain Ross, R-O-S-S, they decided, because of the elders, after they were divided up, and the ranches go by like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they each have 3 numbers or 3 letters. And this is the GHI. From the GHI ranch, they decided, that's how they're going to go by. And also, well, that's part of the story. But those GHI elders, these 3 got together, and also, they have what's going on from the police department and the enforcement, the other enforcement. They decide that they need to move these wealthiest ones, to have certain types of security for them. And now some of them are already on the GHI ranch, and but they want, like I said, they want to have them more, kind of between the two, divided up, but also together for, like I said, certain types of security that's more focused on that. And so they decide that they're going to have a meeting, to get all of the, sorry, I'm a little distracted, all of the, all these very wealthy families, the top wealthiest families in the county, to be at the country club for dinner. And they're going to talk to them about what's going on and what they need to do about it. Okay? So now, these are very reasonable people, and they understand what's going on. They also understand, they're told, about the dangers and such, and they would appreciate it if all of them would be more, centrally located, either on the ranch and one of them, Margaret, she suggested that to do something she had always wanted to do. Not always, but, since she was young, she wanted to, and she's been there before, to move into the luxurious hotel in Victorson County and live there. They do have them set up like suites, where they have their own little kitchen and, more than one room, and, they're very luxurious. And that's in Needles, Texas. That's the center of Victorson County. And, the wealthiest people, some people come in because that part of it's more for tourists. Needles it's the center, and they have a lot of things going on in the county. They also have an amusement park, and they have these dude ranches, and people come there basically to vacation, not just to Needles, but to the county. And they have festivals and these kinds of things. So, Margaret suggests this, and they had kind of, already thought about it. And so she suggested it. Now, Margaret comes from the wealthiest, the top number one wealthiest family in the county. She was from the original settlers, the person, Victor, who decided to send his family and buy the land, and which developed a county eventually, over time, and way back when, and she's a direct descendant from them, and from Victor and Mary. And so, she's how old is she in this one? I think she's in her 56 or 57, somewhere around there, and she's getting close to 60. And so she says this, and they listen to her. They listen to her. She's one of a triplets, and they listen. And they say that's a great idea. Most of them, the wealthiest one says, "Yeah, that's what I want to do." And they realize, they're very understanding that, they, in their own individual homes, they can't each have enough security, and they live in mansions. There's no way they're going to have enough security for each and every one of them, which is what they were told also, with everything else going on in the whole county. So they say, yeah, that they would really like to do that. It'd be like an extended vacation for them, and they would be around all their friends. They would be, quarantined, of course, at first, and so the people that work there, everything, and take as much measures as they can to keep them safe. And they have their own medical facilities, and the meals would be cooked, everything. They have their own social group there, so they decided that they would do that. All right. Now, like I said, most of them, pretty much. The other ones went to the GHI ranch, and some of that were at the GHI ranch came to the hotel, the luxurious hotel. And like I said, now these are the extremely wealthy, so they're the most wealthy. So they go ahead and pay their own way. They pay for the rooms. This is to help keep the hotels open, because they weren't going to allow other people from the outside of the county to come into the county. And the people who live in the county, if they wanted a vacation, they could go to like the amusement park. It has its own hotels. They could rent a hotel in Needles. And they can go to the ranches too, these kinds of things, but nobody from the outside, okay, for safety reasons. And they're doing all this legally, so remember, this is fiction too. And so it was, anyway, as the wealthiest, that was their help. But this pushed them on to decide that, spurred them on that they're going to run. Okay, sorry about that. But that they're going to, their focus, the GHI, I meant to say GHI, elders, and the GHI elders make, hold on. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on here, but all of a sudden there's a lot more activity. Anyway, the GHI elders, they make the decision that they're going to focus on the lakes there. Now, where the GHI ranch is, it's close to the center lake. It's called Lake Care in the county. It's not, right on it. There's a town called Lake Care, And then on the outside of that is the GHI. It also is part of, it's huge. It kind of goes around into like Technology, Texas, and Tewksbury, Texas. It has much of that area. It's huge. And so they want to do, focus on the cabins. Well, the ones that, Margaret's kind of group, they call themselves the 789. They're going to live in the luxurious hotel. They don't. That's not a ranch. It doesn't have, names and such. And it's ABC or something like that. And they're going to do. Okay, that time my camera got hot, so it cut itself off. But anyway, they just made the decision, all this involvement and everything, that they're going to, be the ones to organize the funding and to help them out through this period of time. It's very wealthy. Oh my goodness, how many interruptions, but it's a very wealthy county. And there was just another interruption right then. And, where was I though? But yeah. And they want to keep that, the businesses open, running, and give people jobs that not everybody in the county is wealthy, so they want to keep it going and have people have jobs that need jobs, especially like the younger people. The older people are usually have already gotten their inheritance, and that they're usually well off, but they have their children. They don't just hand everything over to their children. Their children they expect that their children to have be productive members of society, go to some of them go to university, those that want to go into trade go into trade, whatever it is they want to go into, and not just to be at home and doing nothing. So they have, and plus they have basically two towns. One's in the like north central east, and the other one's in the southwest and of the town. And here and there, some people they're not at all. Most of them are not wealthy, or many of them, especially the one in north central east, they're basically not. And so they want to keep jobs going, people making money, economy still going, and all that for the people of the county. They really think about their county. These are very good, decent people, except for those in the north central east. There's a town actually called the Outlaws. It has its own history, and not many of them are wealthy. And the other one is called Hippie Town. Okay, both of them have their own history. So so they go ahead and they pay their way. They're wealthy. They're just redistributing the money. Wouldn't that be nice, huh? So anyway, so Margaret had made the suggestion. The others agreed with it. They'd already thought of this, considered this, and so that's what happens. And they all, start moving around and getting into their new homes. And they make this decision, like I said, to sum up this video, to they're going to do that. But the other ones, the 789 elders. Now, Margaret's not at the age, and many of them are the wealthiest are not at the age that the elders usually are, and that is 70. Throughout history, that's what it's been. Well, they've adjusted the age at different times, and because when they're, for different reasons. But now the wealthiest, they decided they're not going to do an age thing like that. Okay, it's just the wealthiest families. And okay, and their focus is going to be on the hotels. All of the hotels. The main ones in the Needles, but there are also a lot of hotels in another part, and they're basically going to focus on those. But also some of the cabins, they might give it back to the GHI Elders, but some of the cabins that are closest to where that part of the lake where they are, but they could give it over to them, the GHI or another one. But Anyway, I'm wrapping this up because there's going to be another interruption. I'll talk to you on another video. Bye.